Welcome back live into the Cowboys Report. I am Tom Downey, producer Aiden, behind the scenes for today's live show. Take you through all the latest on the Cowboys. 2 previews because we got delayed with other news and tightened week. So we're doing them both on today's live show. Keys to victory, matchups, players to watch. We'll spread it across 2 different videos for you. It is Cowboys versus Eagles week as Dallas looks to keep a very lengthy home winning streak over the NFC East opponents that they've played when the quarterback's healthy going. They've been very impressive in that area. E for the Eagles, C for the Cowboys. Who you got on this one? E for the Eagles, C for the Cowboys. Early voting, Cowboys have 89%, Eagles then have 11%. Producer Aiden, what's up?
Man, I am not confident in it. This is probably the least confident I have been in a pick in a while. But I am going to choose the Cowboys to win this one. I didn't think twice the first time they played. I thought it was Eagles by 1,000,000. And they proved me, obviously they lost that game, but they proved me wrong in that one. Where I was like, okay, hold up now. This team is overperforming from what I thought it was going to do. And then all season long, Dak built on his momentum. He's still playing like, if you had the wins for it, an MVP candidate. And I just feel like I think I'm going to go with the Cowboys on this one.
I think they can win. This will not be an easy game. And it is the type of game like they have to prove that they are actually like a real football team. Definitely. And not just a team that pulls the occasional upset, ties against the Packers, and has yet to win a single game against an above 500 team.
Yeah.
Prove it. Prove it first. E for the Eagles, C for the Cowboys. Get those votes in. Clip says C. Another C from Clips there. Antonio says C. Bleed Azul says C. Martin says E. Keep the comments coming, E or C, in the comment section. This is the Super Chat menu on today's show. Any Super Chat is a shout-out. $5 gets you into our raffle entry this week. $10 gets you 3 raffle entries, $50 for a shot, and $100 for the beer bong. Gatlin is in with a $5 Super Chat. I don't know why YouTube said to go back to the handles instead of the names. I don't know why they did that today. I like it so much better with the names. That's what people care about. Gatlin, $5. In a spot where Dallas can't afford to lose another game, having to play 3 games in 10 days is a hard ask. Bro Tato, he throws in. 4 and 17 days or something like that, which is just unbelievably stupid. It's a very unfair stretch the Cowboys have to deal with. Not good for player safety. Like there should be add an extra week to the season, add an extra bye week. I've solved the issues. Or 2 weeks of the season, add an extra game and a bye week. Oh my God, it was so easy. Plus, like we get to have more football, and that's all anyone cares about. I think you can lose one of these next 2 games. I think that one game probably has to be the Chiefs, though. You kind of don't need it for tiebreakers because you have the tie, so that is the tiebreaker. But I do think that the more likely reality is you have room for maybe 1 loss total. And these are probably your 3 toughest games left of the season. Eagles, Chiefs, Lions all in a row. So you can lose 1, but even then you're going to need help. And you put yourself very much behind the 8 ball. Matt Temple, $10, says, hey, Tom, my wife is a Giants fan, and the one thing about football we can agree on is that we hate the Eagles. Also, F the Eagles. Dilly Dilly, F Philly, as always, in the comments section, live chat, I should say, of today's stream. And no one likes Philly. I made the one tweet about, hey, the Cowboys haven't lost a home NFC East game with Dak healthy since 2017, and the Eagles fans got very mad about that. Because they just, I'm not even talking about you guys. Go away. Now, speaking of Dak Prescott, battling a hip injury this week, was limited at practice on Wednesday. Practice, call it practice or not, walkthrough more or less, was out there today. Don't have the details yet of if he was full or limited. I think he's going to play. I'd be surprised if he didn't play. Even Schefter was like, yeah, he's going to be out there. It doesn't mean we can ignore it. It's kind of... It's a hip. It's a quarterback. It's the injured guy who has had injury problems past. Like I do worry about that. I get a little bit concerned anytime there's an injury for the quarterback. If I were a Ravens fan, I'd have been concerned every Wednesday, and he did it again this week too, where Lamar doesn't practice, then he's out there the next week. All of those things tend to concern me. So I think 4 and 5 are like reasonable answers, but is worth mentioning still in the end. Trey Fax. Hey, Tom, hope you're having a good day. Blessings to you and the family. Thank you, Trey. What's the update on Diggs returning? Do you think this defense is, I think he means can win without Diggs, is how I interpret that. Diggs is not eligible this week. He is eligible starting next week. We'll actually go in depth on this on the first segment of today's show, so stay tuned for that one. I still question if he's going to come back this week, or next week, I should say, excuse me. It's a short turnaround, like no real practice time. You have extra time after the Chiefs game, maybe then, but I wonder if he is going to come back, or if this is just like, okay, we're just going to stay away from each other. Like, this is a relationship that's on the brink and is going to end after this year. Do they get back together to get the kids through college? Like, that's kind of where we're at right now. Moving on to Thursday Night Football tonight. Who you got, Bills or the Texans? My lone prediction tonight, outside of Khalil Shakir, just had a kid. We're going touchdown jackpot on that one. This might be a weird game. Like, this game just screams Thursday night weirdness to me. Yeah,
I completely agree. Something's going to go off. I hate that I have to say this, especially as an Ohio State fan, but is the Texans offense actually a little bit better right now with Davis Mills?
Soft benching. Everyone tweet at Jeremy Chugs and say soft benching.
And I feel bad.
I think it's the opponents that they played against more than anything else. But
it definitely is.
They also didn't look. They were not good against the terrible Titans team last week.
Yeah.
So I think that's a bit deceptive. I don't know. I this should be a game in which the Bills win by 2 scores, but they've always had issues against Houston.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna go Buffalo. No CJ Stroud. He'll be back next week. Had they had the normal allotment of recovery time, I think he would have been out there. But I'm gonna go Bills, and I think this one's gonna be weird. It's gonna be this is gonna be a weird James Cook fantasy owners meltdown because it's 2 Ty Johnson touchdown game. That's what this is gonna be. But anyone be surprised by that?
I would not. I'm also gonna take the Bills in this one. I completely agree with you. It's gonna be weird, and because of that, my actual pick for the night would be Texans spread. But if we're just going who you got, I'm going to take the Bills. But I do think Texans spread might have some value there tonight just because it's going to be so weird.
Bills also, both these teams actually matters a lot because neither team's going to win their division. As we all predicted, Patriots, Colts running away with those divisions. The winner gets a boost and kind of increases their ability to make the wild card race, which does matter because you got Texans and Jacksonville, Bills and Chiefs kind of all contending. And even the Chargers there for a couple spots. So, final call. Get your votes in. Who you got? B for the Bills, T for the Texans. Let me know in the comments section of today's show what could very well be a good one. Now, if you want the Cowboys to beat the Eagles, which every single person watching live right now, outside of the Eagles hate watchers, which I know exist, show it by liking the video right now. Coming up on today's show, we'll go through some news and rumors. As promised for you, Trey, we'll discuss the latest on Trevon Diggs, where things sit there. We will also run through a Cowboys mailbag. Get your questions in right now via hashtag Cowboys. Skip the line altogether with a super chat. We will then preview Cowboys and Eagles, 2 different versions. We'll talk injuries on both of them, keys to victory, and then some matchups and players to watch. All of that coming up live here on the Cowboys Report. Coming up on the news and rumors roundup for the Dallas Cowboys. Latest with where things sit on Trevon Diggs. I know there's been some confusion out there. We'll break it down for you. Some injured reserve updates for Dallas. Brandin Cooks was cut. And potentially during the filming of today's live show, we'll pass through waivers. And we'll get into the kind of wild, I'll call it throwback Cowboys rumors on CeeDee Lamb and the George Pickens discipline. Before we get into that, we are actually losing the like battle right now this month against Eagles Now. We're about 2,500 around there away from catching up to the Eagles. Let's do it right now. Let's not let them win anything this week. Help us out for free like today's show. Let's go to Trevon Diggs. Now, I've seen some inconsistencies. I'm not going to call it, it's not intentional misinformation. It's a very understandable mistake in terms of when Trevon Diggs is actually eligible to return to the Cowboys. He was placed on IR back on October 25th. However, it is not 4 weeks of actual time. It's 4 game weeks, as in 4 games a player has to sit out before they are eligible to return from injured reserve. Therefore, he is not able to return this upcoming week. Next week is when he'll be able to go. So he's eligible to play against the Chiefs. That's when he'd be able to play, or the Lions and Vikings starters. He does still have to sit out this week's game against the Las Vegas Raiders. That's why there's been no Diggs designated to return news. Just was not ever the plan on that front. Diggs has not been very good this year. The man zone disagreements and inconsistencies have certainly been a factor on that front. The 3 touchdowns allowed. He's had some games. The first Eagles game, they didn't even test him. Played great in that one because he wasn't tested, period. Since then, not nearly as good on that front. The Cowboys, I think, are mostly disappointed with what they've gotten out of Trevon Diggs since they paid him. We spent a lot of time here in the past discussing the frustrations that exist within this Cowboys organization about the play of Trevon Diggs since getting paid. They kind of let their money get mad a little bit. The good news for Dallas, at least, comes in the cornerback room, where the Cowboys have gotten good play out of Savone Revel. This was kind of the depth chart a week ago, and I think it's changed pretty drastically. Kalen Carson, in reality, is the number 2 corner now. Savone Revel has taken on some playing time. They've essentially benched their 2 starters from the beginning of the year when it was Elam and Diggs, and now it's not really either of those guys. And I do wonder, does Diggs come back? Or is this kind of, we've seen the last of him already? So predictions. Will Trevon Diggs play again this year? Y for yes, N for no. Let me know in the comments section of today's show. With the very tight turnaround before Thanksgiving coming up here, because the Cowboys play Sunday and then on Thursday, I'm not sure if Diggs will return the first week he's eligible. I'm not sure what type of fully close to game shape he's in. They might make a little bit more of a cautious approach there. If the Cowboys are still realistically alive in 2 weeks, in 3 weeks, whatever, I wouldn't be surprised if he made his return. I can certainly see that as an outcome. But given the frustrations from the front office, I think some disappointment in allegedly him not doing his treatment properly, I don't think we should assume anything on the future of Trevon Diggs. It would not surprise me either if the Cowboys get 2 weeks from now and go, you know what? This juice is not worth the squeeze. We're going to move on and just let him hang around the team. We're not going to bring him back, and we'll focus on the youth with Savone Revel, Kalen Carson. That would not surprise me either. It's in a bit of a dicey spot, but I put the over-under after the Chiefs game still. Now, I want to mention some of the other guys who are on IR or PUP in the case of Josh Butler. He's eligible. Phil Mafah is eligible. Payton Turner, per Todd Archer, as we'll get into, actually counts already, which that's kind of a weird one for me. Other players who are set to return soon. Trevor Keegan, eligible week 13. He's not going to come back. They put him on IR to make room for other roster spots. I could see Jack Sanborn and or Juanyeh Thomas returning this year. Cowboys going 4 deep right now at linebacker. Sanborn eligible in week 4 with his own groin injury. Juanyeh Thomas, the non-football illness list, eligible week 15. Ajani Cornelius, much like Trevor Keegan, is not going to come back. That was just, we needed bodies right there. I also wouldn't expect Josh Butler to come back because he's been eligible. Phil Mafah was an IR stash. Unless there's an injury at running back, I don't think he's going to return. Big note from ESPN's Todd Archer that, mentioning the 4 games, not 4 weeks, Cowboys, per Todd, have used 6 of the 8 they are eligible, apparently because they carried Payton Turner or put him on IR to begin everything. That one actually counts. And then Cooper Beebe, Jonathan Mingo, can't get on the field, Kalen Carson, Malik Hooker, and Perion Winfrey are the other ones who have been used. So that actually only leaves 2 spots for some combination of, that's why I don't think it's going to be Phil Mafah, Trevon Diggs, Jack Sanborn, Juanyeh Thomas. Math ain't math, and somebody is not going to come back this year. Also want to make note of the fact that Miles Sanders and Robert Jones are out for the year. Their injury recovery timeline in Miles Sanders' case is too long, and Robert Jones was put on IR before the Cowboys even were going to be able to bring him back. So neither guy will be back this season. Today's show is made possible by Ethos. As a father of 2 kids, it's not fun to think about what would happen if something happened to you. But you do need to be prepared. Protect your family with life insurance from Ethos. Get your free quote at ethos.com/NFL Daily. That's ethos.com/NFL Daily. Ethos is a trustworthy company that disrupts the traditional life insurance industry. And as of March 2025, Business Insider named them the #1 no medical exam instant life insurance provider. Ethos is an online platform making life insurance fast and easy to protect your family's future in minutes, not months. There is no complicated process, and it's 100% online. No medical exam is required. Just answer a few health questions and get a quote in as little as 10 minutes. 3 million families have had completed applications and trusted Ethos to help find the right coverage. Protect your family with life insurance from Ethos. Get your free quote at ethos.com/NFL Daily. That's ethos.com/NFL Daily. Links in the comments section and the description of today's show. Let's go to one of the notable players' cuts in recent day, I guess I'll call it there. Brandin Cooks, the Cowboys legend, released by Dallas, or released by the Saints, in what was called a mutual decision by both sides. Background here, Cooks got a shockingly expensive deal, frankly. 2 years, $13 million. The two sides had agreed to remove the guarantee money that was owed to Cooks next year as part of Cooks's request to get released from the organization. And to be quite honest, Brandin Cooks has not had an impact this year, really any impact for the Saints. Of note, both against the Saints comp pick formula and in favor of the Cowboys comp pick formula, Brandin Cooks will still count. It is still going to count as it was constructed with the contract, so they don't actually get any benefits outside of saving some money, etc. Now, the comp pick situation, which can be complicated, I think is developing mostly positive for the Dallas Cowboys. So we're going to have a video on that probably next week after the Thanksgiving game is my tentative timeline there to break it down, see where things sit. I think there's a real chance to get 2 fifth-round picks in the end. I'll have a full video on it. Hit that sub button so you don't miss out. There's been a few suggestions, social media, etc., about, hey, what if you just sign Brandin Cooks and moved on from Jalen Tolbert? And I get the issues with Jalen Tolbert. There's really no reason to do that. And the reason here's the rationale. Tolbert's better, he's cheaper, and he's more useful than Brandin Cooks right now. That is the reality. Brandin Cooks this year, got outplayed last year by Jalen Tolbert. 19 catches, 165 yards, and 0 touchdowns. Tolbert, meanwhile, has 14 catches for 172 yards and a touchdown. He's younger, he's cheaper, and he helps on special teams. Brandin Cooks doesn't do that. So I don't need a number 3 receiver. That's Ryan Flanoy. My gadget guy is Kevontae Turpin. I'm talking about my 5th receiver. My 5th receiver has to help on special teams. Brandin Cooks does not do that. So would you, leave it up for democracy here, would you bring back Brandin Cooks? S for sign, P for pass. Let me know in the comments section of today's show. Would you go out and sign Brandin Cooks? S for sign, P for pass. We're going to add some stuff here on Dameon Pierce in just a second, but I want to get into CeeDee Lamb first and foremost. The rumors of why Lamb and Pickens were benched for the first drive against the Raiders have been everywhere. The rumors started with legitimately guy on Twitter. Like that's all it was. Unnamed guy, like 200 followers, said, hey, my neighbor spotted CeeDee Lamb puking Monday morning at a casino. That's the origin of it. That's why all the graphics you see don't actually have the tweet itself because it was a nobody that said it. If true, by the way, which there's some doubts as to how true it is, that is against NFL policy. You're actually not allowed to go to the casinos on road games. That is a thing, which can get an experience there of why they're covering it up. Hey, I will make note that Clarence Hill tweeted and then deleted that they didn't miss curfew, that they were at dinner with teammates Sunday night, missed some meetings afterwards, said they were not out all night, but then Clarence deleted that tweet. Well, why'd you leave the tweet there, Chill? The whole thing is just the peak, like, who knows what the hell happened? I don't know if it's ever going to happen. I'm making this very light of this next part here, but that's a throwback 88 mindset, baby. If true, which I don't actually know if it is, this is the closest CeeDee Lamb has ever been to living up to the 88 old school Michael Irvin mindset. Like, that's what that is right there. Also, they both played pretty damn good games, especially George Pickens, by the way, was awesome against the Raiders. 9 for 144 and a touchdown. Hey, if doing all that stuff gets you the win, sweet. You know what? Who cares to an extent? I don't think they'll have those issues this week, though, in Dallas. What is your concern level over the Dak Prescott injury? We'll get into after live. We'll do a little update on it. Dameon Pierce released by the Texans, which I find interesting. I will make note that Dameon Pierce isn't good anymore. He's not good. But I know people are going to ask about it, so we'll do a little quick thing on that. What? Yeah, but that was. I don't know if there were injuries to blame there for Pierce. Can you get him on the practice squad? Sure. It's maybe the practice squad. I don't think you're going to put an actual claim for him. I don't think that would be a very smart move. But anyway, concern levels. Am I going to have to ban 6'7" as a response? Can we at least just do 6'9"? Like, I don't know if we're going to back to ban 6'7". I don't know. All right, Aiden, $5 super chat. You see us running more bear front against Philadelphia. I think a lot of it depends on what the other deployment ends up being. I don't know how often, the usage from the Eagles is going to allow you to do that heavy of a front. Part of the benefits that the Eagles have in their run game is that they're able to get things out wide. Hurts is mobile, and Saquon is very good on tosses and outside runs, stuff like that. I would bet we still see some of that 5-man front stuff, where you put 3 down defensive linemen and 2 edges. Maybe they're not rotating down a safety or an extra linebacker. I'd be a little bit surprised by that on that front, but certainly is still worth monitoring. They did it kind of. They did do 1 6-man front where they had 4 defensive tackles and 2 edges against the Raiders, and that was their touchdown play. Funnily enough. This is the Super Chat menu on today's show. Any super is a shout-out. A $5 Super Chat gets you into our raffle for this week's game. $10 equals 3 raffle entries. $50 is a shot, and $100 is a beer bong. That is the Super Chat menu here on today's show as we get set up for the next portion of today's live stream. If you guys want the Cowboys to beat the Eagles, which every single person watching should want, even if you're an Eagles fan, hate watching, I think that means deep down you do want the Cowboys to win. So, like the video, please and thank you if you want the Cowboys to win. Philadelphia on the road this week at the Dallas Cowboys. Eagles are a 3.5-point favorite. Opened at 4, got betted down to 3.5 after the solid win by the Cowboys against the Raiders on Monday night. One of the lower over-under totals in several weeks here. That was the 47.5. It's been 49 or 50 for quite a while now. Eagles have been mostly average, frankly, on offense. That is how it's been so far this year. The Cowboys have been awesome on offense, but the Eagles, especially as of late, have been really good on defense. And the Cowboys have not been good on defense. And you've got, top 10 and average on one side and top 2, bottom 2 on the other. So who knows what will happen this week? Some Cowboys injuries to monitor. Dak was limited on Wednesday with the hip injury. Expectation is he'll play. I don't think it's going to be anything risking a setback, but one will monitor for sure. Jadeveon Clowney, Dante Fowler, shoulder/neck and a shoulder. I think they'll be okay. All these guys limited on Wednesday. Malik Hooker is probably the one to monitor the most here, given his not full participation on Thursday either should raise some red flags. Tyler Smith's going to be on the report all year. He'll play. Solomon Thomas trending towards a return. Same with Donovan Wilson, should be back again. Perrion Winfrey's back full, but he also just came off of IR, so they're still listing it on that front. Philadelphia-wise, Lane Johnson, I don't think is going to play. I'd be shocked if he did. He's got the D-less Frank issue. He's probably going to miss several weeks. Jalen Phillips will play, was limited on Wednesday. We'll talk about him later in the week. He's been awesome this year for Philadelphia since the trade. Cam Jurgens in concussion protocol. Every now and then you see a player return inside that initial 7-day window as opposed to the normal average 9 or 10-day recovery on average. Jurgens might be the one who beats the average. He was back at practice in limited capacity on Thursday. Still has to work his way through the protocol, so no guarantee he is back. Extra offensive linemen Miles Hinton and Willie Lampkin currently on IR. Could replace Lane Johnson potentially on the 53 if Lane goes to IR. Is this a must-win game for the Dallas Cowboys? I get to keep asking it because I didn't technically play my card against the Cardinals. Did play it against the Raiders, so I get it back. I think you have to win if you want to have any real semblance of playoff hopes there. So my answer is yes. What do you guys think? Y for yes, N for no. Number one key to victory. Your defense has to show up. You are not going to win this game allowing 27 points or whatever, like the way you have been too often this year, given how good the other side of the ball for the Eagles defense has been playing this year. The Cowboys are just not a good defensive team. And they were much better against the Raiders. I acknowledge that. It's the Raiders. That's not exactly the most intriguing thing. The Eagles offense, meanwhile, the last 2 games, hasn't done a very good job. 10 points, 16 points. The Packers and the Lions. Those are solid teams, but you expect the Eagles to be able to do more. You need to kind of keep the narrative going of the Eagles' issues on offense and the dysfunction and A.J. Brown being upset. Your defense has to have a good game. Otherwise, I don't think you have the margin for error to be able to overcome it. This is too good of an opponent to have a terrible game out of your defense and expect to win. Who you got in this one? E for the Eagles, C for the Cowboys. Let me know in the comments section of today's show. E for the Eagles, C for the Cowboys. Key to victory number 2, the offense balls out. And again, your offense has to have its A game. You don't have, I mentioned the lack of defensive talent, you don't have the margin for error to not have a good game on offense. You don't have the Packers defense or the Lions defense to be able to have success. This is why it's been so different this year on either side of the ball with the way the Cowboys have played versus the way that the on defense versus the way they played on offense. The third down defense remains putrid. They are dead last in the NFL on third down defensive rates, allowing a 50% conversion rate. It's a huge issue in their earlier season loss against the Philadelphia Eagles. Eagles, meanwhile, they've been very average on offense. In fact, kind of below average if you get to some of the yard stuff, but they're great in the red zone. They've had issues on third down, oh, by the way. Defensively, on top of this, to make note, they're really good, and they're solid on third downs. The red zone stuff, Eagles have been great on both sides of the ball. Cowboys have not. Could potentially be a big, big difference. You need your quarterback to have his best game. This is one of the games where if he doesn't have his A game, it seems unlikely that they'll be able to win. This is the margin for error the Cowboys have built for themselves with the way the roster is constructed. We'll talk about it later in the week. Dak's had a lot of success, A, against the NFC East, B, against the NFC East at home, C, against the Eagles, D, against the Eagles at home specifically. Got to have it again this week. Good notes here from Chase Sr. The defense has really taken a step forward ever since the Jalen Phillips trade. He, as we'll discuss later this week, has been awesome for Philadelphia. The entire defensive line, including Jalen Carter, seems to be doing better as well. The linebacking core is very talented. The secondary, minus one guy, has been pretty good. This is one of the 2 best defenses the Cowboys will probably face all season long. Today's show is made possible by Prize Picks. The hard-hitting football action is even better with Prize Picks. The weather might be changing, but the feeling of being right never gets old. Keep the season rolling on Prize Picks by getting $50 instantly in lineups after you play your first $5. You can play Prize Picks and get in on the action in football in more than 40 plus states, including California, Georgia, and Texas. It is the only app to offer stacks. Pick the same player up to 3 times in the same lineup. Maybe you want to go Drake May more than on everything. And maybe Joe Burrow does play in that game after all. 3-pick power play lineup here. Drake May more than passing yards. Caleb Williams more than rushing yards. He'll do his creator scramble chaosness. And Rashee Rice more than a half touchdown. If you haven't already, go download the Prize Picks app today. Use code CLNS to get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. That's code CLNS to get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. Prize Picks. It's good to be right. Links in the comments section and the description of today's show. Key to victory number 3. You have to contain Jalen Hurts. And easier said than done. Make him consistently beat you from the pocket. Make A.J. Brown have another crash out game or post game or maybe in game as well. The Eagles, Hurts I think is sometimes overhated, kind of like how Dak is overhated. I think both guys get a little bit too much criticism despite a lot of really good results over the course of their careers. Hurts does a good job not turning the football over. His biggest weakness right now, because he's gotten much better against the blitz. He's been way better in that area. As we'll discuss again later, zone coverage issues. He just will not attack the middle of the field. He's never done it across his career. It's not what he does. And week 1, Cowboys got him into third downs and just did not be able to have success in the end. Give me your score predictions of the Cowboys against the Eagles. Let me know in the comments section of today's show. Number 4, you do need your entire supporting cast to show up. If they don't show up, I don't know how you're going to be able to win this game. And I'm thinking in particular, CeeDee Lamb, don't have the dropsies, okay? Don't do that. Do not allow that to happen. Make those catches in the biggest moments. George Pickens continue to play some incredible efforts and everything there. And it's also it's everybody on this team. You want to beat one of the best teams in football, it can't be one superhuman effort. It's got to be the entire team. Jake Ferguson has to play well, not drop passes, do a little bit more after the catch. Javonte Williams got to have himself a nice game on the ground. The offensive line has to block. We just spent how much time talking about the defense. It has to be a team effort. That includes special teams, by the way, as well. Hit that sub button if you haven't already, youtube.com/Cowboys TV, and join us for our live Cowboys-Eagles watch party on Sunday. 5th key to victory. You got to go show something. You got to prove something. The Dallas Cowboys this year, and we'll see if it changes as the year goes on, but I doubt it given the way their records have been, are winless this year against teams above 500. They did tie against the Green Bay Packers, but they've lost against all the other above 500 teams they've played, and even to some not good teams like the Cardinals as well. You have to prove that you can actually beat an above-average football team. Otherwise, all the hopes and whatever of making it to the playoffs, they're meaningless if you can't win a game like this. I want to believe, but I am going to pick the Eagles to win. I'd have the Cowboys covering, by the way. Eagles 25, Cowboys 23. You can beat Philadelphia, but I also got burned several times this year watching the Cowboys defense look good against the bad team and then collapsing against the good team. I don't want to make that same mistake again. I would be happier if I end up being proven wrong instead. Mailbag time. 2 ways to get in on the show. You can use #Cowboys or skip the line altogether via Super Chat. I'm now being called a traitor. I get it. I would not play the Cowboys defense this week. I did play them last week, and it did work. But I would not. I think there's too much downside. Too much downside there. So use #Cowboys. Skip the line altogether to get in with a Super Chat. Let me get some water here. There we go. Use #Cowboys. Skip that line altogether here. The Super Chat menu, by the way, any Super Chat is a shout out. $5 gets you into our raffle entry. $10 gets you 3 raffle entries. $50 for a shot and $100 for a beer bong. That is the super chat menu here. We got a couple supers we can include on the mailbag. I'll leave that up to your discretion there, producer Aiden. And let's dive right in to today's mailbag. From Mr. Getmore, 187, a $2 super thanks that just says thanks. I appreciate that, my friend. Remember, any super thanks that you send in will get you a shout out on the show. If you send in a $5 or larger super thanks, we'll get you into our weekly raffles. It'll be a signed mini helmet. I got a plan for you guys. You'll see it on Sunday. Signed mini helmet of a former player this week. $2 from Matt Temple, who just says me in reference to a request to type me if you want to beat the Eagles. He also said, P.S. F Eagles. As I said in response in the comment section, dilly dilly, F Philly. Trey Fax, a $5 super chat. If we had Quinnen for week 1 and this type of defense that we have now and we're healthy, what would our record be? I'll say this. I don't know yet what type of defense you have yet. It's the Raiders. They're bad. I don't think we can actually make sweeping generalizations about how this Cowboys defense looks. Now, if it is, let's say it's a touchdown better, and you go from bottom, or even like 6 points better, 5 points better, and you go from one of the worst defenses in the NFL to like the 24th, 25th, maybe you beat the Packers and Panthers. Maybe those 2 games are flipped for you. Instead of allowing 30, you allow 24. And instead of allowing 37 in relation, you allow 30. You might win those 2 games. And now we're having a different conversation of like, can you win this game to win the division, take control of it, or are you still be pushing for a wildcard team? But that's all hypotheticals because I want to see how it actually looks against a real team. Dave Man 223, love the Cowboys and this show. Thank you, Dave. Do we sign Pickens? I think at minimum, you will have a franchise tag applied to George Pickens. And Pickens will play it properly. He'll say, I want to be here. We'll make the money work, etc. I think he's very much enjoying his time in Dallas right now. He's a lot happier than what he was in Pittsburgh, but he also knows he got a chance to get life-changing money. I think the franchise tag will happen, and I hope the Cowboys don't drag it out until August again, or I guess July, since it's a tag. Wouldn't be surprised if they did. From Donnie Darko, is Jaden Blue a bust? A, he's a 5th-round pick. So I think we should always assign proper amounts of expectations of like, he's a 5th-round pick. Like, he's not supposed to be a superstar player. Are we disappointed by how he's played so far? Absolutely. The fact that he can't consistently get on the field is a red flag. It is a concern. It's a good thing you have Javonte Williams. Otherwise, we'd be a lot more upset about the lack of impact so far from Jaden Blue. I'm not out on him. It's way too early to call a 5th-round pick a bust. But you need to see more of this. In the end, he just kind of looks like a limited early career day 3 pick. There's a lot of those guys. Some of them changed the tune and they end up making an impact later. Let's give him some more time. So are you out on Jaden Blue? Y for yes, N for no. Let me know in the comments section of today's show. Gatlin, in a spot where Dallas can't afford to lose another game, having to play 3 games in 10 days is a hard ask, brotato. You've also got to deal with the having to play Monday night to Sunday to Thursday, then you play again on Sunday, the later weeks. So you kind of have I guess it's 4 games in 16 days? Yeah, 16 days, which is just like, what are we doing out here? Like, how is that a thing this team has to do? I don't get it. It's not 16 games, whatever it is, right on that timeline. It's just, I hate how the NFL schedule makers always do this, and the Cowboys kind of get screwed again having to go play on Christmas too. Like, that's not particularly fun in the end. That's a extremely frustrating situation and scenario there for the Cowboys. So I think that's just a unfortunate situation that the Cowboys are in. We'll see how it plays out. But you're right. I think you get maybe 1 game here. Maybe 1 game where you're going to be able to lose, probably against the Chiefs. Otherwise, You got to start winning and start winning a lot. Today's show is made possible by Prize Picks. You and I make decisions every single day, but the hard-hitting football action is even better with Prize Picks. The weather might be changing, but the feeling of being right never gets old. Keep the season rolling on Prize Picks by getting $50 instantly in lineups when you play your first $5. Prize Picks is the only app that offers stacks. You can pick the same player up to 3 times in the same lineup. You want to pick more on Josh Allen pass yards, rush yards, and touchdowns? Pick them all in the same lineup, only on Prize Picks. Or maybe you want to go Drake May this week, a bit more intriguing since he's got the historically bad Bengals defense this week. It is simple to play. You pick more or less on at least 2 player stats, get those picks right, and you can cash in. So download the Prize Picks app today and use code CLNS to get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. That's code CLNS to get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. Prize Picks. It's good to be right. Links to the comments and the description of today's show. So to Aiden, a $5 super chat. Not producer Aiden. They spell it differently, by the way. You see us running more bear front against Philadelphia. Some 5-man front stuff will be deployed, like full-on Buddy Ryan bear. Probably not. Unless the Eagles start coming out in 2 tight ends and a running back, then maybe. I don't think that's going to be their full-on game plan from a consistent basis. Like Arizona might have been a better team to try that against, frankly. But they'll do 5-man front stuff. It's just you don't see that much like true old school bear fronts because the game is too spread out from an offensive perspective. CJ DeYoung III happens every year at Thanksgiving. This is me referencing the tight window games. Yes, normally you don't get Monday Night Football as part of that stretch going into it, which whatever. Jerry loves the money. You know, the NFL as a whole loves the money. It's why almost every team at some point does the Sunday, Thursday swing. It's just a bit different for the Cowboys because they so often go Sunday, Thursday. And they're also coming off of a Monday game before that this year. It's a bit unfortunate for Dallas, and they're going to have to manage their bodies properly because they're going to be very sore by the end of that stretch. From BIG. Trevon Diggs at safety. I've seen this floated out there. If you want to try it, sure. If he comes back and you want to keep playing Carson and Revel, you're banged up at safety, okay. I don't really know if he's that good of a fit. Like, yes, he's got instinctual ball skills. He's a bad tackler. I don't know if he actually helps you that much at safety. I'm getting visions of just missed tackles left and right, like, Is he the physical type of corner to hang with a tight end? No, he's not a player you want to roll down in the box and stop the run. He's not a guy you want to put over the nickel, so he's kind of just a free safety, and he hasn't really done that. So, like, you could try it, but if you're trying him at safety, he has to be awesome or he's gone anyway. Sure, if you want to, whatever. I don't know if that's really going to be a good outcome there. So would you try Trevon Diggs at safety if he comes back? 1 for yes, 0 for no. Let me know in the comments section of today's show. King Fatty Daddy. Why do they keep using Sam Williams so much? No offense to him. He just ain't that guy, I fear. Well, I agree. And I have said as much on shows. And, I hope players don't ever watch because, why would you? Because you're just going to get angry. There's no reason to. Focus on your own stuff. He probably hates me. But, he hasn't been very good. I thought he was better against the Raiders. Again, it was just the Raiders. I need a big game from him. He is someone I kind of have to have step up down the stretch. I've only got a couple defensive ends now. They don't play Dante Fowler on rundowns pretty much at all. So, especially on some of those run plays, he's got to make an impact for me. From Busch Gardens fan. What does the injury report look like for this week since they haven't updated the website? Dak said he was a full participant on Thursday, by the way, as we sit here filming today's live show. The main one to monitor, I think, is going to be Malik Hooker and his toe. I think he's going to stay on the injury report all year. I kind of wonder if they maybe brought him back a week or two faster than they had originally planned because of the Juanyeh Thomas migraine stuff. But he might be battling that for a while. From Terminator, what are the Cowboys' playoff chances if they win? The numbers here, did I write these down or did I put it somewhere else in a show? I think I put it somewhere else in a different video, in a different copy. The Cowboys right now sitting at 10% chance. Yeah, I put that in one of the preview videos. 10% chance right now. If they win, independent of the other results, 18% chance to make the postseason. So they're alive. They lose, drops down to 4%. And that kind of factors in the spreads and stuff like that as well. But you got to win to realistically be alive. You lose against Philadelphia and you have to win out. And even if other results, even if you do win out and lose against Philly, you're still at 83% only. You're not even a lock, even if you somehow win out, which we should have no confidence in them winning a bunch of games if they can't win this one against Philadelphia. So what is the percent chance that the Dallas Cowboys make the playoffs? Let me know in the comments section of today's show. Obviously, 0 to 100% is your scale. Let me know in the comments section of today's show. From Hoodie, I think Dak still lights this defense up and CeeDee makes up for week 1. Isn't that the ideal outcome? That CeeDee Lamb has a big-time bounce-back game after all the discipline, missing curfew, drama. He balls out against Philadelphia. As we'll discuss, I'm curious who Quinyon Mitchell covers. Do they go hit with him against George Pickens and try to do some DeJean and Adoree against Lamb? If so, throw it to Lamb. Steven, besides the ones under contract for 2026, who are the ones you want to keep on defense for next season? Notable guys under contract, by the way, include your big 3 defensive tackles, Ezraku. James Houston is under contract. Marvion Overshown, Shamar James, Logan Wilson, Maurice Leafau, Carson, Revel, Bland, etc. The guys not under contract that stand out to me are Jadeveon Clowney, open to keeping him. Dante Fowler's been whatever, so I guess you can keep him if you wanted to. But that's kind of it. Honestly, most of your guys actually are under contract. You don't have that many key free agents next year. It's a matter of getting more impact. If you guys want more free Cowboys YouTube videos, you have come to the right spot. Hit that sub button if you haven't already. YouTube.com/Cowboys TV. Free Cowboys videos each and every single day right here on the channel. Roman Wolf Gaming, Kamari Ramsey, this is the safety from UCLA, AJ Halsey, the safety out of LSU, or Dylan Thieneman, the safety out of Oregon. I might put them in reverse order. I do think all 3 guys are pretty freaking good at football. I'd also throw, he's hardly played, but Rod Moore is a very intriguing player to me, the Michigan safety. I want you to there, Aiden. Easy, bud. It's fine. I think Earl Little's been great for Florida State this year after being terrible at Alabama, frankly. I think I go Thieneman, Halsey, Ramsey. Those guys probably go somewhere on day 2. As of right now, you don't have a day 2 pick. So how you juggle that and figure it out is a little bit complicated. This is the Super Chat menu on today's show. A $5 Super Chat is a raffle entry. $10 gets you 3 raffle entries. $50 is a shot, and $100 is a beer bong. Kenny Clark's under contract, by the way, for those of you spamming his name, so I didn't count him as a not under contract player. Houston's under contract. I'm not keeping Sam Williams. I will wish him the best of luck when he signs with Dan Quinn. That's kind of where I'm at right now. Who you got on Thursday Night Football? B for the Bills, T for the Texans. Let me know in the comments right now. Thursday Night Football matchup. Who you got? B or T? Get those votes in. I see B's from Game Show, Forever is Back, John Galt, Roman Wolf Gaming, CJ DeYoung, Kyle Wright. We've been pretty hot on the Thursday night games. Granted, some of them have been kind of obvious picks. We got the upsets, right, with the Bengals.
Yeah, we've gotten some upsets. I remember G-Men over the Eagles that we're talking about this week. I remember Bengals over Steelers. We got some good picks. I think we were talking about this earlier, and I've decided I'm going to stand on it, and it's probably going to be super wrong. Tyrell Shavers, anytime touchdown tonight. That's what I'm going to say. I'm going to say he scores. I'm going to say it was not a fluke last week. We'll go with that one.
B for the Bengals, T for the Texans. Let me know in the comments section of today's show. B or T. Someone said C for the Cowboys. Yeah, this is the Thursday night game. We did not get the Eagles-Giants game right. Didn't get that one right. You did. I did not. Glad that the Giants won, but see how it goes. So, final preview coming up. Get your votes in. B for the Bengals. T for the Texans. Before we dive into this preview of the Cowboys-Eagles game coming up here on Sunday, everyone, let's troll Chase. Spam F Chase in the comments section of today's show. The most comments gets a free raffle entry. So week 12 is upon us. The Cowboys are slight underdogs at home against a very, very good Eagles team. A game the Cowboys are pretty much going to have to win if they're going to keep any realistic playoff hopes and dreams alive. The Eagles injuries to watch. Again, I will make note we're filming this as part of our Thursday live show. We'll get the final injury reports in the comment section in the description of today's video when the video goes out. Lane Johnson's got a foot injury. He's not going to go, I don't think. Cam Jurgens, we'll see. Concussion, but had made some progress in the concussion protocol. Never should be overlooked. Jalen Phillips will be fine. We'll see if they bring back Miles Hinton or everyone's favorite small, undersized offensive lineman, Willie Lampkin from IR. They are currently on IR. Some injuries to watch. Dak said he's going to be good to go. He did do his media availability on Thursday. That's normally a pretty clear sign a guy's going to go. So I'm not worried about that one beyond the fact that there's an injury, and that always scares me with Dak. But he'll play, I believe. I think Clowney and Hooker Clowney and Fowler, should all play. Malik Hooker is the one I don't actually know about. The toe, I think, is just going to be an issue for him all year long. I think they were kind of desperate at safety to bring somebody back, so we'll see how that plays out. Tyler Smith had the knee injury, so that's worth monitoring, but I think he's going to be okay. I think Solomon Thomas trending towards a return. Wilson should be out there. Hooker is the one to monitor throughout the week. Let's talk some matchups to watch here. Number one is the quarterback, Dak Prescott, against specifically the NFC East / the Eagles at home. Kind of some wild stats here I wanted to feature on today's show. Google will tell you a wrong number because Google's AI sucks. At home against the Eagles, he's 6-1, 68.5% completion rate, 283 yards per game, 14 scores, 8 interceptions. He had one of the weird, multiple drop balls turned to picks games. Really two bad games in terms of the interceptions, one of which they came back and won. It was borderline hit that Romo Bills game where he threw all those picks and still found a way to win the game. Most notably, the last time the Cowboys lost at home against an NFC East team while having a healthy Dak Prescott was November 19th, 2017. It's been that long since a healthy Dak-led Dallas Cowboys team lost at home. At some point, that record is going to be broken. And much like how eventually the Giants will beat the Cowboys again, I would not be shocked if it happens this week. But at home against the NFC East, he's 21-2. He's 21-1 after the first game, because remember they lost that game against the Giants. Remember that one? 276 yards per game, 51 touchdowns, 14 interceptions. This is borderline Mahomesian numbers and Brady numbers of they're just dominating the division opponents. Hasn't gotten beyond that yet, but these are eye-popping numbers. So what is your confidence level in the Cowboys beating the Eagles this upcoming Sunday? 1 to 10 is your scale. Matchup to watch number 2, it is the Cowboys' run defense against Saquon Barkley. The boost of Quentin Williams was obvious. In Week 11 against the Raiders, this is insane. The Cowboys did not allow a single rushing yard before contact. Not a one. All the yards came after contact, in most cases, guys falling forward, because the Raiders did not try to run the ball, and they did not run it with any success. And it's a big boost where they allowed 1.4 yards before carry on design runs, non-scrambles, which was the 4th most during that stretch. In large part because the Eagles' offensive line is not as dominant this year as it's been in years past. Saquon Barkley, relative to his first 10 games played, has seen his numbers essentially cut in half. Not the carries, but the yards and the touchdowns are essentially, I'm rounding here, cut in half because he's averaging 2 yards per carry less. Don't let him get going in this one. Today's show is made possible by Ethos. As a father of 2 kids, it's not fun to think about what would happen if something happened to you, but you do need to be prepared. Protect your family with life insurance from Ethos. Get your free quote at ethos.com/NFL Daily. That's ETHOS.com/NFL Daily. Ethos is a trustworthy company that disrupts the traditional life insurance industry. And as of March 2025, Business Insider named Ethos the #1 no medical exam instant life insurance provider. Ethos is an online platform that makes getting life insurance fast and easy to protect your family's future in minutes, not months. There is no complicated process, and it's 100% online. No medical exam is required. Just answer a few health questions and get a quote in as little as 10 minutes. 3 million families have completed their applications and trusted Ethos to help find the right coverage for them. Protect your family with life insurance from Ethos. Get your free quote at ethos.com/NFL Daily. That's ETHOS.com/NFL Daily. Application times may vary. Rates may vary. Links in the comments section and the description of today's show. Matchup to watch number 3. I fully anticipate, just like they did it back in week 1, the Cowboys to deploy heavy amounts of zone coverage against the Philadelphia Eagles. Now, the numbers this year, these are all per per Summer Sports' stats, their advanced stats, which requires the brain to be right, but we'll see. Higher completion rate in zone coverage compared to man coverage, but 1.2 fewer yards per attempt, only 4 touchdowns compared to 12 touchdowns. And by the way, the attempts are completely different. There's been 84 throws against man coverage, 187 against zone coverage. Significantly different numbers on that front. The EPA per play against man is 0.23, which is borderline MVP numbers. And against zone is 0.01, which is just kind of like, average-ish. It's actually a little bit below average relative to the rest of the NFL. That is a startling difference so far against those two. So I expect a bunch of zone coverage this week against Jalen Hurts, who will not throw over the middle. Pick a QB. DP for Dak Prescott, JH for Jalen Hurts. Let me know in the comments section of today's show. I'm sure this will cause some debates. DP or JH. Matchup to watch here, number 4. It's going to be CeeDee Lamb / George Pickens against Adoree Jackson. Even though they traded for Michael Carter, the Eagles have not really been using him. It's been a lot of Cooper DeJean on the inside at nickel, and Adoree Jackson has still been the number 3 corner so far for the Eagles when they go into those nickel personnel sets. Jackson can't cover Lamb or Pickens. He just doesn't have the game. He's not good enough. And that other cornerback spot has been an issue so long for Philadelphia. They traded for Michael Carter. They traded for Jair Alexander. Alexander stepped away from football. Carter can't get on the field. Jackson's got 6 pass breakups. But the last 2 weeks, Jackson's played the most of his entire playtime percentage snap-wise over the course of the season. 7 catches for a team-high 90 yards and a touchdown on 13 targets faced in that timeline. I bet they try to pick on Jackson, assuming he plays over Michael Carter. Number 5, I'm going to go with the interior offensive line against Jalen Carter. Carter has not been as good this year, but you need your interior offense line to have a game. Tyler Smith, Cooper Beebe, Tyler Booker. You can throw Jordan Davis in this conversation too. The last couple weeks have been better for Jalen Carter, who hasn't had the same high-end, splashy impact that we're accustomed to seeing him have. He's been a little bit more bottled up and contained by some of these opposing offensive linemen that he has faced so far this year. but he's a dangerous player and one that the Cowboys did not have to face at all after he lost his mind and spit on Dak. Some players to watch. Number 5, we'll stick on the trenches here. Terrence Steele. And I mentioned him because he's going to start again. I think he's earned that right after a relatively solid showing against Max Crosby. Still gets a handful of times per game. It's just like that was not particularly great. That was kind of frustrating. Better run blocking effort. Jalen Phillips has been incredible for the Eagles since the trade. I said it on our shows. Like, if someone trades for him, he's going to get them 5 sacks. He's got 1 sack already. His pressure rate is 25%. That is unbelievable. To get that level of pressure is unreal. He is on a heater since he got to reunite with Vic Fangio. Just the 1 sack, but a couple quarterback hits. He has been dynamic. Now, we will be live for the Cowboys-Eagles watch party. Hit that sub button if you haven't already, youtube.com/CowboysTV. Number 4, how about Kalen Carson? He's kind of taken over as the starter at long last at one of the outside corner spots. We'll see if that continues. He was the only Cowboy player, by the way, to play every snap against the Raiders. Everyone else got at least 1 or 2 breathers on that front. For the season, only targeted 7 times. You're allowing less than 10 yards per target. That's actually pretty solid. Only 3 first downs on those 7 targets. It's not elite level play, but it was a lot better than what they were getting from some of the other guys out there. Number 3, Quinnen Williams, the defensive tackle, is next up. How does he build on his electric debut against the Las Vegas Raiders? 7 pressures in that game, 5 quarterback hits, a sack and a half. Took Quinnen Williams 1 game to have more sacks than Jalen Carter has had all year. Kind of crazy. One of his best pass rushing efforts in years because he got to play in a more attack front at the 3 technique spot. He thrived. Got to do it again against Philadelphia. Again, this Eagles offensive line, as mentioned, isn't what it was in the past. I think Tyler Steen, in particular, is beatable at the right guard spot. Number 2, you got to get Javonte Williams involved today. He has to contribute. You cannot force yourself into a passing-only situation and let Jalen Phillips and Carter tee off on you. Javonte has been far better than what anyone else, I think, was even the Cowboys were expecting. If you had told me he was averaging 5 yards per carry, he was 2 or 3 games from hitting 1,000 yards, I would have said, wow. Wait, really? Like, I would have said if this was a mailbag, in July, I would have said, I hope so, but let's not get our hopes up too high. Oh, he has. It's been awesome for the Cowboys. So who scores the first touchdown for the Dallas Cowboys? Let me know in the comments section of today's show. Number 1 player to watch is DeMarvion Overshown. And the issue the Cowboys had at times against the Eagles in week 1 is they get into 3rd downs, and Jalen Hurts would just buy time, scramble, and get the first down somehow. Well, let's see if that happens if DeMarvion Overshown is spying him. I wonder if, especially on 3rd downs, the Overshown role is going to be to spy Jalen Hurts and not let him get outside the pocket and do something enough to get the first down. That's how I would deploy him, as opposed to using Kenneth Murray or Logan Wilson there. You can still do other stuff with him, still blitz him, still put him in coverage, whatever. Had the TFL in against the Raiders. Overshown said he wanted to play better. Sweet. I think you really missed him against the Eagles in particular, maybe more so than any game this year, because it was that impactful potentially. I am curious how they use him this week. Who we got? E for the Eagles, C for the Cowboys. Let me know in the comments section of today's show. E for the Eagles, C for the Cowboys. Get those votes in right now, E or C. Some super chats. Skeptical fan with a very fun answer. 24-20, Cowboys win. Wouldn't it be fitting if it's just the point differential is 0? Wouldn't that be fun? I think that'd be super fun. Roman Wolf Gaming, crazy, but I might want Jeremiah Love late first. You're not going to get Jeremiah Love late first. I don't know if you're going to get him at your first round pick. If you're picking 13, I don't think he's there for you. I think he's gone. So you're not crazy because you're essentially saying you want a top 5, top 10 player at pick 25. You're right to say that. I don't think that one's going to happen. CJ DeYoung, really? DP equals Dak Prescott. Yes, this is Texas, and we love Dr. Pepper. What's the issue? What's the issue here? It's his initials. Everyone knows it. It's fine. Appreciate that, CJ. You're into our raffle, by the way, as well. We'll have a slightly updated show for you coming out here in half hour, somewhere in that ballpark. CeeDee Lamb has told reporters that, no, he was not puking at a casino Monday morning. He and Pickens were out having dinner, and they missed curfew. So that is what the official story is, and that they were disciplined as a result. Lamb said he knows how to hold his liquor. Love that line. We'll also discuss a little bit Dameon Pierce getting cut by the Texans. I don't know if you need to claim him. I just we'll talk about that on today's show, though. So hit that sub button. It'll be available on the channel here in just a little bit. Hit that sub button, folks, so you don't miss out.